Welcome to the Bad Bitch Collective. I am your host, Demi motherfucking Cannon, and this is the space for black sheep leaders, bold conversations, and the identity upgrades required to build the business, hold the money, and live your most authentic life. If you're ready to stop shrinking and stop hiding, buckle up, babe. Let's go. Welcome to another episode, another one of the Bad Bitch Collective, but today we are labeling it the Big Dog Collective as well, all right? Because we have a special guest today and I'm super fucking excited. I'm going to try to read out the list of this man's motherfucking achievements, okay? And then he can explain to us what the hell some of it means, all right? So we have former HBO production executive, producing shows such as Boardwalk Empire. Shit, how the fuck I not know that? And Hello Ladies, all right? Leader in AT&T, DIRECTV, brand. I don't know how to read that shit. So this is Matt Curtis, Goldman Stacks, all right? And essentially he's a serial entrepreneur is what we're going to call him. I could read out his list of achievements, but he owns Immortal Management and also Immortal Media, Immortal Fitness. This man be making money in all sorts of ways. He's super fucking successful. Very smart man. Worked with like Ryan Blair in marketing his book. What was that called? Nothing to lose, everything to gain. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Matthew Curtis.
Hello, how are you?
Man, a few words, but we're going to get him talking today because he has so much knowledge, and he's been so fucking successful in his life thus far. So my first question to you, big dog, is what makes you feel like your big dog self?
I would say what makes me feel like my big dog self is that everything that I've set out to achieve and accomplish since my teenage years, I've actually done it. And now that I'm into my 30s, I've done things that people twice my age in their 60s couldn't even fathom doing or haven't done yet. So
Right.
I would say that humbly speaking, I feel like I'm my big dog self because I believe in myself and actually put in the work, not just believing, but put in that action too.
Yeah, and you do what the fuck you say you're going to do, right? And so, like, I mean, you've been hella successful. When we talk about financially, I didn't mention that in the intro because it wasn't written there, but like financially, how successful have you been?
I've done well, and I've been able to, succeed in a lot of different things that I want to do and be able to provide for those that I care about and they care about
Okay.
me. Enough to get myself to speak on the Bitcoin conference stage because you can only give Bitcoin well if you've done that. So if you do your research and understand what a Bitcoin well is, you would know from there.
Okay. So he doesn't want to tell us. He's what's it called? He's gatekeeping his financial, and that's fine. All right. That's fine. Okay. But we're just going to say he's been hella motherfucking successful.
My
So, pardon?
early Bitcoin investors when it was
Early
$171.
Bitcoin investor. All right. So if you guys can imagine early Bitcoin investing, he's done well. So when you say that everything like a life, the life that you live now, and people in their 60s, whatever, couldn't imagine. Why do you think you've been able to be so successful?
Because a lot of people create things or create things in their mind, but don't create things in reality. And I'm the type of person that actually wants to see things go through fruition and continue to push them until I can take my hands off the wheel and then allow them to run, you know, without me having to continuously manage or continuously be involved. So
Yeah.
hiring the right team and stuff like that. That's what helped me get off every single business that I've started or that I have helped start off the ground and, pretty much run themselves. So
So reflecting that back for listeners would be like something, and we've talked about this like as well. It's important. People have $1 million fucking ideas and they don't
it,
action shit. So something you're saying that has helped you be successful is you have an idea and you execute.
yep,
Yes. And then you
yep.
hire the correct people for the correct
To
roles,
keep it
which,
executed.
say it again.
Then hire the right people to just keep executing it without me having to micromanage.
Yeah. Because you know what, when it gets to like, let's say a lot of my listeners will probably be, solely working within their business, say, right? And maybe some of them might be ready to hire. Do you have any tips for hiring people? Because that can be a really hard part in business, that expansion part. People will hire multiple whatever people in different roles and like they're shit, it doesn't work. Do you have something, a piece of advice?
Okay, so if you're a solopreneur, if you have a type of business that's like a service business, that doesn't require physical interaction with people, it's okay because now we have AI, and then AI is allowing people to have pretty much solo type businesses, to where they can run a whole agency with just themselves and the correct AI added to them. But if you have a service business where you have to interact with people and you have to actually provide physical demand service, then it takes hiring the right people that will necessarily expand your business and give a good customer service. That's what matters the most because it all relies on, reliability, reviews, those things matter. So even when it comes down to like my business with Immortal Fitness, like reviews matter. So we got to make sure that we got the right team that's not only taking care of the customer from personal training to open gym, but then also just keeping the gym up to date and clean and stuff like that. You got to have reliable people that are showing up and showing up on time and stuff like that.
Yep.
Those things matter. So either way it goes, if you're looking to get something to where you're just starting off in your business and you're just trying to figure out what's the next step. Sometimes hiring the right people matters, but sometimes it takes finding the right solution. So the right solution isn't always hiring people, it's learning something new. So if you need to learn Claude Code, if you need to learn any other type of AI um, option or AI agent out there right now,
Yeah.
it's you to figure that out. So once you figure that out, then you should be straight.
Because like you started to incorporate AI into your business and stuff, right? And I know we
Yep.
talked like last month or whenever it was, and you were saying like you were like literally figuring out how to code it, and it was like this trial and error, and it took you a long time. So I guess at the level of business that you're at now, to do, you're still willing to learn and to evolve and have to put in the work per se. Yes.
Exactly, yeah, because you can't just put it all on somebody else if you're introducing a new aspect of your business through um through it all, because otherwise you're gonna find yourself with high cost. You're gonna have to pay that talent that already knows it to then implement that into your business, and then they may request or demand a salary that's six figures, like
Yeah.
120K or 300K, who knows, based off of the actual demand for that skill. So if you can learn that skill yourself, you're saving yourself a lot of money down the line that you can
Yeah.
now implement not only in that business, but any future business too.
And so if we go back to, I want to go back to like because you have such a good mindset with things too. Number one, you're willing to take action, but mindset's amazing. So take us back to when you first invested in Bitcoin, right? Not knowing fully if it was going to pay off. What was like the mindset in that where you were like, because it's a risk, yeah? Any investment, anything we do, even if you do your research, there's always some level of risk. So like what was your mindset back then, or did you do a lot of research? Like tell us a story about that a little bit.
Okay, so I've spoke about this several times, and most recently at the Bitcoin conference. But what started with this was basically when I worked at Goldman Sachs, which is where my name Goldman Stacks came from. Um, I worked there in December 2010 until um, I went back again in 2013. So there, people were talking about, Bitcoin and the technology of it and stuff like that. And, it's a new asset. It was only about a year old at that time. And I was like, okay, that's interesting that we got another like form of currency. And it like related back to what I learned even in like social studies class, like in grade school, in high school, when they were talking about they were going to be like a one world currency. And I was like, maybe this might be it. I'm like, this is crazy. So when I went back again in 2013, um, it was a lot more people talking about it because this was a role now from being instead of just a financial analyst position to now a tech analyst position, and everybody in tech is talking about it a lot. And it's like now 4 years old. So I was like, okay, this is probably something I would rather do than be working 16-hour days at Goldman Sachs, and I'm probably making like 120K or 130K a year. Like that's not enough, right? And only have enough time to go to sleep. So I left New York for the final time and came back to LA and started up Block 26 with a former business partner. And we started that up, like pretty much trying to see how we can implement the blockchain technology into different businesses and startups that wanted to integrate it into their business. So at the time, price of Bitcoin was like 300 something. I got my first Bitcoin, got it off the blockchain and around Christmas time of 2014. And then I noticed that it had already hit $1,000 before, but now the price had dropped down to 300 something. I'm like, so then I was like, all right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some money that I have saved from my savings. I had like 100 grand from my savings from just working all those years. Well, it wasn't all those years. I was working like probably like at this point, maybe 6 years. That has saved up from like, working in the music industry and just starting up at HBO, and film and all that kind of stuff. I just had money saved. And then I was like, I can try to see if I can get a loan to probably match that. And I got approved for another 80 grand. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna have to try to figure out how I'm get this to work. And I set a buy order of $170.50. It dropped and hit that and filled that order of a lot of Bitcoin at that time. And then then the price kept dropping. It went down to like $159, right? But my order filled. So afterwards, I was like, okay, the order filled. It hit a low of like 159, but then it bounced back up and then it kept growing. And then by the time it was like midway through, that was in January of 2015. So by the time that it hit like 300, $400, it was like midway through the rest of the year. So I was like, I already made my money back. I could pay back this loan. And then the rest of it, I'm just keeping in Bitcoin. And I learned from that. I was like, okay, cool. So then fast forward to like 2017, Bitcoin went to close to around $20,000 from $171. And then people, started going crazy about it. Other cryptos started, getting notoriety, such as Ethereum, and
Pause
unfortunately,
pause for a second, because I want to talk about the
yeah,
energetics of money is something that I work with a lot, right? So
yeah,
people, if you've grown up with money, my belief is that you have this outlook on life that there's always more than enough.
mhm.
When let's say, cool, so you were clearing like 120K a year, whatever, the amount of money that you were essentially holding then at that point, how did that feel for you?
Not enough.
Not enough.
No, that's not enough for the way I want to live. No,
Okay.
no,
So then did you have an idea of how your life you wanted you to live your life and play it out when you were younger? Did you always kind of want to live a life where you had a lot of money?
absolutely. Because I'd rather have a lot of money and not have a lot of things because then I know I can afford those lot of things and maintain those lot of things and buy them multiple times. And at
Okay.
the same time, that money provides me a little bit more security than those things would. So
Okay.
um, I care more about having that financial freedom and then at the same time not having a bunch of liabilities around me. And that
Yeah.
comes from things and also people,
And
unfortunately.
also people.
Yeah.
Damn, it's
Yeah,
cutting people off.
yeah, because like really, when you realize it, a lot of people will only want to be around you because of that money that you
Yeah,
have. And if they know you have it, then they're gonna always try to guilt trip you into riding for them. And that's not right.
100%. So I do have a question for you. Did you, when did you know, or did you always know that you didn't want to live a normal life per se?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I saw a lot of normal things around growing up. I was like, yeah, this ain't for me. So the best way to learn is from learning from other people's mistakes and decisions.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I don't want that. So I gotta do something different. So yeah.
Okay. And so, like, obviously, to build, I mean, you've got multiple businesses. Do you feel like there's something for people listening that there's like a piece of advice or something that you have to have in order to I guess, reach success, whatever anybody determines success is?
Devotion, devotion to what it is that you're trying to really, put yourself out there for, and what it is you're trying to make make a difference and an impact in the world for. Because otherwise, how do you expect to be successful if you're doing everything that everybody else is doing and
Mm,
nothing is making yourself stand out to where, okay, you providing a solution to something. Now, if there's a demand for it, that's where success comes. But if there's no demand for what it is that you do, you're gonna probably be like, let's say, for example, people stuck in a job market looking for a job, and you provide something that is now being replaced by AI, or now, something that's not really conducive to a high demand in the world. So you got to provide something that is different, a solution to a problem that's out there, and then be dedicated to it.
yeah. And I would say like that even leads into I guess the work that I do because my whole thing is like authenticity, right? And so
Yeah.
if there's seven people going for the same thing I was going for, I know I would get that motherfucker because I'm myself, right? So we talk about like energetics or that whole like learning to stand out inside of a market regardless of whatever it is that you do. What do you feel like is has been your perspective on that, or even like say like for Immortal Fitness or any of the other businesses you have, what was your point of difference, I guess?
So if you talking about fitness, yeah. When I first acquired the business for Immortal Fitness, it was strictly just a personal training gym. And I'm like, this isn't gonna get the type of traction and the type of traffic that I even want coming into this gym. So let me change the whole business model while keeping the clients that are already personal training clients and trying to hold on to those, but then also expand it to where it's more marketable by making it an open gym as well as personal training. And then recently, we've introduced group training too. So people that want to tap into either of those three, um, options when it comes down to looking for a fitness studio or a fitness training center, they now have it all in one instead of just what some places have strictly personal trainers or strictly open gym or just strictly Pilates or strictly whatever the hot new thing is. It used to be cycling or something like that, and it's not that anymore. So um, when you create like a niche product, you have to then adapt to that and adapt to it as a trend. But when you create something that's more of a broader product, you can adapt your broad product to the trends as they go. So
Yeah.
that's why I didn't want to create something that was just strictly focused on cycling or strictly focused on bodies, because I know that those are trends and it's going to be out of style here pretty soon. So
Yeah.
you create something that's going to live to stand the test of time.
So there was like any of the barriers that there were, you'd figured out solutions for.
Yeah, exactly. And then as time goes along, I can then create more different avenues for people like, okay, I want to hire somebody that specializes in Pilates. Let me hire a Pilates instructor to have a Pilates class in my gym instead of just it being a Pilates studio, because now that it will last for decades. This new location that we're about to buy, it used to be a Mayweather Fitness, and they just pretty much kind of focus on boxing. So I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work, and that's why a lot of the different locations are kind of closing, because those are trends and trends usually go out of style.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is interesting because like I guess when it comes to physical business spaces like those things, what about though, and understanding like maybe in the fitness industry it's a little bit different, but do you think that it's important to, let's say, and again, probably more so if you're a solopreneur, but to be an expert in something? Or do you think it's
Mhm.
more beneficial to be like a jack of all trades in many things? What's your perspective?
I prefer to be an expert in all things. That's why I sit down and I study things really well to the point of where I can even get hired for those things by somebody else if I
Yeah.
wanted to do that. Being a jack of all trades in certain things means like, okay, yeah, you know how to do it, but you're not an expert at it.
Yeah.
So I want to be such good at whatever it is that I'm putting myself out there for, to where I can even get hired by somebody else if I want to do that. And I don't ever want to work for somebody else, but I
Yeah.
just want to be that good at it. So like even when I go and look out for other businesses to invest in as like a venture capitalist whenever I'm in that role, like I've helped start up, certain business or expand and expand the reach of certain businesses. One of them is like Caddy Customs, that's Katty Customs. And what she did was she was a master of the trade of, customizing shoes. And I was like, okay, that's something that I don't know how to do, but she does. So let me try to add in what I know as far as like marketing and building our websites and getting her face and brand and what it is that she does in front of other people that she probably wouldn't have reached by just staying local. And long story short, with her original Instagram, she went from around like maybe 5 to 10,000 followers to at the peak, I think it's like 149,000 followers. What I did, like, to give myself a pat on the back, I guess you would say, is,
For
I
once, he
changed
never
it.
will do that. He'll
Yeah,
always
but
be Mr. Humble.
I had it to where even if you typed in custom shoes on Google or custom Nikes or custom Jordans, she
She'd
would
pop
be
up.
right below Air Jordan
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the first page. Like she would be like the second or third
Yeah.
result.
So
So
so essentially what you're saying is important for everybody listening is if you're going to do something, and it's interesting because I literally shared a video the other day, a story or something, and I was saying like the reason people aren't successful is because they take shortcuts for shit that they really should be like dedicating time to. So, and I'm talking about like even in the smallest layers and levels of your life, if you're cleaning something and you see that spot and you're like, fuck it, I'm just going to leave that shit. Like the level of dedication and give a fuck that you have in small areas will is how you do all things, because I believe how you do one thing is how you do all things, right? So if you're going to do something, your advice is do it to the fullest, become an expert in that area, right? Which makes sense.
yeah, yeah, you definitely want to become an expert in that area because then you don't want to always be doing the work. So when you become an expert in that area, that's how you're able to find somebody that can do the same job as well as you did. You hire them, and now you can focus on something else.
Do
Right.
you think it's important from your perspective? I mean, our businesses are very different in a sense. Mine's very like soul led, spiritual. Like I believe that people have to have a passion for something that they're going to grow, right? Do you believe that? Do you think people have to have a passion? I mean, you're much more logical than me, but do you think people have to have a passion for something that they're doing? Do you think that's
Yes,
important?
yes, because people that don't have passion for things that they're doing usually give up quickly. You
Yeah.
know, so there's no point of even putting your time towards something that you're not all in on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that means you're just doing something that you're not really dedicated to.
Yeah. And like in my language, you call it like, I say that there needs to be a balance between like your mission, like the reason you're doing something, and the monetary
Mhm.
gain. Cause like if shit's hard and you're only doing it for the money, when you first start any business initially, you might not be making money straight away. So again, you have to have that level of devotion and dedication to be like, well, even though it's hard right now and I don't have the financial reward just yet, I'm going to keep at it.
Right.
Want to move on to you personally, all right? If you're willing to share this and be open with this part, sir.
Okay. I'm ready.
Has there been a moment in life that was really fucking hard and you thought, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get through this, or it just seemed like shit was falling to the ground. But looking back at this time now, you're like, that was a really pivotal point and I'm glad I went through it.
Ooh, yeah, a few times.
Go
A
on,
few times.
share it with us.
All right. I would say when I first moved to LA, um, it wasn't even an official move. I was in my I just finished my junior year at Purdue University in 2011, and I was supposed to come out here and work on a book, which is Ryan Blair's book, and market that. It went well, became a number one New York Times bestseller, and I was like at the top of my game. I was like, yo, like I just left Wall Street for the first time, and then I'm out here in LA and killing it out here in a whole nother industry, in the book industry. So I'm like, yo, I'm killing it. And then next thing you know, um, I got T-boned in a car accident by an old guy wearing, blind people glasses. He ran the light and T-boned me. And I was like, yo, what the hell? Like, and then my insurance didn't transfer over properly from the state of Illinois, because I'm from Chicago, to Indiana. So from Illinois, I had full coverage. In Indiana, it didn't transfer over that. It just had like the basic coverage. And basically, I was kind of screwed out of my car. It was a Jaguar. I was screwed out of my car. And I was like, what the hell? Like my arm was all busted open, and I that's the only bruise I got from it. But it let me see who was really for me in that time. Like
Yeah.
all the new people that were around me that I thought was like, really good people, really good close friends and stuff like that. It kind of like, like turned on me when I was like, man, like, dang, like who would have thought that I would be going through something like this? And then it was like, okay, well, you kind of gotta like, you know, keep it moving. And I'm like, all right, but help me keep it moving. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
instead, I couldn't really. It took that for me to not rely on getting help from anybody else.
So that
Go
you
ahead.
feel like the lesson of that was to, do you feel like you learned from that just to be careful of like the people that you surround yourself with, or like maybe tune into people's intentions?
Maybe. Yeah,
Mm.
maybe. But it opened my eyes to see like, okay, people will definitely utilize you for what it is that you can bring to them.
Yeah.
But in your time of need, they don't always know how to have that same level of empathy and understanding to what it is that you need from them.
Yep.
So yeah, just essentially you learn who is a real true friend and who is a user in a way, and
I can imagine.
how it is. That's how it is with business. Most of the time, people are transactional and therefore only what you can provide for them. And I get that. I get that now. It took me, at that age of like, 21, learning that face on, and I
Mm.
didn't really had to experience something like that until that point. But now, as a man, I'm like, okay, yeah, like it's time to man up. Like, and you can't expect nobody to look out for you in a situation like that. You gotta just kind of like dust that off and get get you another car, stack up some more money, like keep it
Yeah.
moving.
Let's say there's some men listening to this, because we've talked about this before. I feel like the barriers for women pursuing business are similar, but sometimes a little bit different than the barriers for men. And
Mhm.
so, I guess from your perspective, what do you feel like holds men back from pursuing any form of dream, like no matter what it is?
Imposter syndrome, and I think that applies to everybody.
Yeah.
So imposter syndrome is really the thing that is affecting a lot of people, and more so even with social media.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people compare themselves to others and they get discouraged when they don't see the impact that they are expecting to get quickly, right?
Yeah.
So you got to really understand that not everything is going to happen exactly as you expect it to or when you expect it to, and you're going to get a lot of no's. And you're going to get, maybe a few interested, but not a lot of yeses.
Yeah.
And you gotta learn like, okay, that's a part of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not everybody's gonna see that same vision you have. So
Yeah, and I think
sometimes
this is where like self-belief comes in. Like I think my perspective is yes, imposter syndrome, which realistically to me is just you don't believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in you, who else is going to believe in you? Like if you're going to approach people for a certain vision, for a certain thing, if you the level of confidence that you carry, like truthfully, I could sit down in front of a room of people and I could tell them that the sky was green. And I'm telling you, for a split second, these motherfuckers might question it, because when I speak, I believe in what I speak in, right? And so, like, a lot of people don't have that level of self belief, and they haven't cultivated that, like, inner knowing. So, imposter syndrome, yes. And I guess knowing, yeah, cool. Sometimes shit's not going to go how you want it to go. Have there been times for you where that's happened, and like what was the mindset you had in those moments where maybe you dipped in your level of self-belief?
the first time I had to deal with something like that was as a teenager, becoming a producer, working on music, making beats and stuff like that. Um, it took me like, dang, like I see all these other producers that I look up to and I want to be like them, or I want to make music like them and make hits and stuff like that. So, you know, but they're these big time guys. They probably had all these different breaks, but I was like, nah. But I got over it because I just kept getting better. I already learned how to read music from playing instruments over the years. So then it took me actually making real beats that sounded great, like sounded better than the stuff I was hearing on the radio. So when it came down to it, long story short, I was like making beats and I was like, okay, I'm gonna study Ludacris because I like Ludacris, I like his music and stuff like that, and I'm gonna study his artists that he has. And then when I studied every single one growing up, I was like, okay, Chingy, he's one of his artists. He has an in-store signing in Chicago. Let me go up there and try to, meet him and, see if he'll listen to my beats. And that's what happened. Like, even though it was a blizzard that day, I still drove like 30 minutes to, the mall where he was doing the in-store
There's
signing.
the devotion.
Yeah, it took that. And then I showed up and I was like, hey man, I'm a producer. I'm 17. I'm trying to get out there. Where can I send beats? And he was like, all right, hit up my boy Keith. And, I started emailing Keith. And then next thing you know, I started emailing Chingy the beats. And then Chingy liked the beats. He was like, hey man, I need you, come sign with us. Like, I need you to be my producer and stuff like that. And this is like fresh out of high school, like literally a week after high school.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I need you to be my producer. And then I started producing for him as I was turning 18. Next thing you know, I'm on tour stops and stuff like that with them and sending
You
him
really
beats
have
like,
lived 700 million lives, haven't you? It's
yeah,
like,
so
is there anything he hasn't done?
yeah, so that's what happened. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So this is like kind of like unbelievable. But it was really happening, and we
Yeah.
got videos on the internet, on YouTube and stuff like that to prove it. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So everything is happening fast, all while I'm in college. Like now
Yeah,
I'm entering
crazy.
college,
Do you know what I
doing all.
find though? And I will say, like, when we start talking about even just American culture, I guess in contrast to Australian, is like I notice that you guys never usually have just like one lane. It's like there's multiple things always going on. I mean, some people obviously just, stuck in their normal jobs, but I find like there's always this like hustle mentality with Americans. It's like I've got multiple things going on, multiple lanes of income, multiple ways I'm trying to come up. Why do you think that is?
Because you can't really rely on that one stream of income.
Mm. And that
That
goes
one
for
stream.
everybody in every country, everywhere, BT dubs in this day and age.
Yeah, you can't just rely on that one stream because then you like let's say it's a job and you're working for an employer, you can get fired, and
Mm.
then what happens? You back
Yeah,
to square one and looking for a job, or if it's a business that you run, you know, if it's something that's just your only thing, you have to dedicate yourself to that to the point of where you're not going to get burnt out from it
yeah,
because that's your only thing. Eventually our attention spans don't last that long to where we just only do that one thing and then expect to live the rest of our lives off of the fruits of that labor.
is there something that people say about business that you think is bullshit? Because in my industry, I think people talk a lot about how strategy is like one of the most important things. And I think that that's like at some level and layer, strategy has to be there. But in my field, it's more so about the energetic side of things, the mindset side of things, the level of devotion or what I call like resilience to get the fuck back up and keep trying.
I guess you could say something along the lines of that, or people, you know, applying old school way of thinking of things.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of things have changed, even when it comes down to business. You don't have to have your business set up in a specific structure of what it used to be.
Yep.
Because now we have things to where, like, even from the paperwork side of things, like, a lot of people say, oh, well, you need to have your business fully set up as a C corp in order for you to, reach success. No, a lot of the people that in modern day times, um, set up their business as an LLC and then get taxed as an S corporation in America, so that you can utilize all the different limited liabilities, without having to have meeting minutes and stuff like that. So the old school way of thinking is like, oh yeah, you have to have your business set up the old school way. Like, no, you don't have to
Yep.
have meeting minutes. No, you don't have to have a physical office. No, you don't have to show up to the physical office every day to achieve success. You
Yeah.
can you could literally have your laptop in Aruba or any other like island somewhere remote, like, and still run your business and make more money than a lot of those old school ways of thinking. to
And
think
not willing
outside of
to
that.
change too. I think that you do have to be open with. And I think something that I think is amazing, like when we talk about how you're incorporating the AI, into your business. And a lot of people are scared. I went to a conference with, can't remember the dude's name, gone from my brain. Anyway, I went to his conference and he was talking about how like he's created his, so a lot of people, which is actually something you're doing too, are creating their own AI models to work within their businesses, right? So this man had created called the billionaire brain or something, and then inside of that had like multiple brains within there, so like for strategy, for building websites, for marketing, all these different kinds of things. And what he had said was, soon he'll be building at something where these people can buy this AI from him, and then also we'll have like AI doing roles within jobs. So a lot of people are like shitting themselves about this. What's your perspective on it?
That's a good business model. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, as far as like, setting up something to where you can implement AI to not only benefit others, but they will also pay you for it. That's a way of
More
catching
so,
up with
what I meant, like, as in the people who are like scared, like for their business, like, oh shit, or like their jobs or whatever, like, oh shit, AI is going to come and take over my job and rah rah. What's your perspective, or what's your
okay.
advice for those people?
Okay, so for people that are feeling like AI is going to take over their job, figure out how you can utilize AI for that job that you feel like is in jeopardy to your benefit. You're a music video director. Now you have to then adapt. That's the thing. You have to adapt. So now you have to then study AI to see like, how can I use AI to improve what I've been doing as a music video director to then add that as an option for people that are using AI or thinking of using AI or haven't even thought of using AI to improve your business, improve your line of work, right? So now you can utilize AI to make music videos from scratch. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you can literally write a script and then it can create a different music video without there being no money spent on any type of film or any type of anything. Yeah, I mean that used to be one of my lines of work. You can look on my YouTube. It's like 10 million views on my YouTube channel. I'm to the point where I can implement what AI is introducing with editing videos and create that as another lane that I can utilize towards reaching out to different businesses or artists or like movie studios, etc.
yeah,
To add on to their business and adapt. Because otherwise, if you just sit on the sideline, like, dang, AI took my bread and butter, it took my income. No, AI can enhance your income. You just got to
yeah,
adapt to it.
yeah.
Can't just sit down and be feeling sorry for yourself. You got to do something about it.
Exactly. It's a lot of business. I believe it really is mindset. It's like,
Yeah,
how willing are you to get the fuck up? It's like, how many times you get knocked down, you just have to get the fuck up. Which brings
exactly.
me to my next point I want to talk to you about. So Matt and I have been talking about, we would like to hold a like webinar style thing together. I've got obviously a big following of mostly male audience on my TikTok. And I'd love to start being able to help these beautiful humans. And Matt has so much knowledge, as you can tell from today, about many fucking things. Very, business savvy. He's obviously been very successful in many roles, many men. And so we're going to run a webinar together. Now I'll be focusing mostly around mindset and energetics, and helping with things like that. And so Matt, what are you planning on kind of sharing with us when we do that together?
Okay, so my side is pretty much going to be focused on monetizing all that,
Yeah.
and monetizing that mindset that you have to where now that mindset is making you money and
Mm.
you don't have to worry about anything or worry about anybody else being in control of you, being able to thrive off of what it is that you like to do.
Because we believe, well, I don't know about you, but I believe that everybody has a timeline where they are wealthy as fuck, fully expressed, living their best life. And it's our human self that is too scared to actually, Like, because there's many times in the stories that you've shared today where it's like you were kind of like, you just had an idea, yes, the execution, but there was this level of like, for instance, when you approach like Chingy, whatever, right? There's a level of rejection that you could have received, but it's like, fuck it, I'm willing to risk my ego,
Yeah.
right? Which is what I find men struggle with. It's like my ego. If I fail, people are going to judge me and then I look stupid and all these fucking stories. And so they just stay safe inside their little comfortable box of sometimes this shitty life they're living.
Yeah.
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 So
100%.
I want to ask you a couple more things and then I would love to open it up to see if there's, if there's any way people want to connect with you or whatever. But my one last question is, what is one thing you feel if everybody knew or did would change their life?
Nobody's coming to save you.
Oof.
If you think somebody's coming to save you from your life, that means something internally with you needs to be fixed first. So I
Yeah.
think that you need to fix that in order to where, you can actually be on your own. Because if you rely on that other person to come save you, they have control over you. Do you
Mm.
want somebody else controlling you, or do you want to be in control of your life? So
Yeah.
I think if you have that mindset that nobody's coming to save you, and you go out and you go get it yourself, then there's nothing holding you back from reaching any point in life, anything, you
Yes.
know? So I think that that's something that everybody needs to adapt that mindset. Um, moving forward, like, hey, you know, it's only on me to get things done.
Yeah.
And then somebody else can come into my life and add to that, great, but they're not going to save me. They're going to add to
Mm.
my,
Yeah.
you know what
And
I
I
mean?
think sometimes people have the perspective of like, if they've had a hard life, there's this bullshit thing that I hear people say sometimes. This person was successful because they had this, this, and this, and I can't be successful because of this, this, and this, when it's fucking bullshit because there are
Yeah.
people that have, built themselves from the gutter and are successful as shit. And so one law that applies to you also applies to me because we're human beings and all laws apply to everybody. So if you've got that victim mentality, which is exactly what we're saying, like somebody has to save me, poor me, all I have to say is when you have that mindset, you will not be successful. You really have to take ownership of like, cool, so these shitty things happen to me, or these circumstances that have happened, but I'm going to choose to get the fuck up and better myself and better my life, invest in myself, believe in myself, all of those things so I can get where I want to go.
100%.
Look at
You got
us.
it.
Smart. We're
Yeah.
smart people, aren't we?
Hmm.
All right, Matthew, Mr. Goldman Stacks. Is there any way that people can connect with you or work with you? Like, what things do you have going on? We know you got businesses you're running, you're making money, Mr. Baller. Cool. Is there ways people can like work with you mentoring wise or anything like that?
Yeah, people can work with me. I have a couple of websites you can check out. You can find out more information about me first, and then which is goldmanstacks.com or mattlcurtis.com. You can also look me up on YouTube. Just type in like Matt Curtis Bitcoin and hear me talk about Bitcoin if you want to hear more about that. But you can also follow me on all social media. It's at Goldman Stacks. So that's GOLDMANSTACKS. And there you can connect with me. I'm working on a few new projects here. I also have my clothing line that I'm currently wearing. It's Immortal Empire.
Hey,
So
I
you
didn't know
can
about
check.
that one.
Yeah, it's Mansa.io. It's a blockchain based brand. So everything that you wear is the digital version of it, and it's on
Wow.
the blockchain. So, you know, building out a lot of different things. So I'm looking to always have, I guess you could say, a way of improving my team, you know?
Yeah.
So reach out.
Reach
I'll reach
out and
out.
I will put all of Matt's links below anyway. So, once again, thank you so much, sir, for taking your time out of your busy life to come and chat with us. And Matt and I will keep you guys updated about this webinar that we're bringing out. Until then, we will see you next time. Bye. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you were to subscribe to this, and also if you were to share this with somebody who you know needs to get the fuck out of their own way and start stepping into their most authentic, wealthy, successful, bad bitch self. If you'd like to connect with me deeper, you can find me at Demi Cannon across all platforms. And if you'd like to work with me at a one-to-one or in one of my group containers, the links are down below. I love you. Go do the fucking thing.